than a framework that is created by these outside forces. And
deliberated exclusion of the various authorities, either the internationally recognized government or the Houthi movement in Sana'a, or regional and international parties who deliberately and unintentionally indulged in a monopoly of the Yemeni situation between only extremist rival forces, isolating parties, civil society, youth, women, and other community actors. Consequently, all of this not only served the fuel the war, but served to widen the circle of corruption and terrorism as a result of the lack of political, community, and parliamentary oversight of those authorities and government institutions, which encouraged the belligerent to continue to displace any presence of opposing forces for fear of exposing them and impeding their interest and influence. The fact is that no political settlement or success will be achieved in any negotiations, and that the democratic system of any country cannot be reconciled without the existence of legitimate and legal political parties and opposition recognized by the state and the world. Political opposition usually arises from the existence of internal contradictions that exists in all countries. Therefore, it is necessary for balancing the forces and political movement and for social progress in general. The political parties does not only spot the actions of the executive and pursue its policy and observes it in order to correct its course, but it is also necessary as a mechanism for establishing peace and ensuring communication between citizens and the institutions, political power, the regional and international community to express their visions and aspirations. They are immunized against the serious polarization to join the parties of war, fighting, or terrorism. Thus, the war and fighting are the reasons of the absence of such significant and influential Yemeni political parties from their national roles and their positive contribution to the creation of peaceful transformation. At this delicate moment, they missed their course of Yemeni conflict, turning to be a part of the war or ally of any of its parties, or of its own reasons and context interpreted by the warring parties.
A case that is pretty dramatic and has gone viral on the internet and because of the film of the torture of a man. This man is called Gamal al-Mamri. He has been tortured and he is a victim of the Yemeni victim of this war. So this is going to happen by Skype. There will be...
My wife was suffering from sickness and from fatigue, where it was midnight on Friday. You see, well, midnight, it was too late. 13. I felt something moving around the door. They have their guns against my head, we're told. Also, they kept me, they put my hands behind my back, and I told them that my wife is attained by a cancer and whether they can be nice to me. Even my wife hadn't a personal identity.
تشهد اليمن حربا شرسة منذ أكثر من 4 سنوات. قتلت الحرب آلاف اليمنيين. تدهور الوضع الإنساني فيها وانتشرت الأمراض والأوبئة وتمزق النسيج الاجتماعي. معاناة الإنسان. بلغ عدد النساء اللاتي قتلن وجرحن خلال هذه الحرب 2447 امرأة.
إن الوضع الإنساني في اليمن يمضي في طريق الانهيار والتردي في ظل صمت دولي رهيب.
You are not without knowing that what happens in Yemen, the situation of human rights in Yemen, is deteriorating and it affects the whole country.
جراء الانتهاكات المستمرة.
of Houthi against the right to education.
فكما نعلم أن التعليم يعتبر هو اللبنة الأساسية لبناء وتطور المجتمعات.
As you might know, I mean, the education is one of the basis for constructing a very good society.
ولطالما دولة مدنية حديثة تلبي تطلعاتهم وأحلامهم في المستقبل.
The Yemenis are always dreaming of having a real state based on education in order to realize their aspirations.
مدينة أو دولة تحتضن جميع البشر دون استثناء. نحن لا نقول اليمن لليمنيين، وإنما اليمن لكل إنسان. دولة تنتهج أو تنشر ثقافة المحبة والتسامح والسلام بين أوساط المجتمع.
That means a state which will establish peace, and it will be for everybody, not only for the Yemeni, for the various components of the society, and which welcome everybody.
ولكننا للأسف اليوم تهدم هذه القيم من خلال المؤسسات التعليمية التي تسيطر عليها ميليشيات الحوثي.
Alas, all these establishments of education are in reality have been demolished by the presence of the Houthi groups.
لتحل بدالها ثقافة الكره والبغضاء بين أبناء المجتمع المدني أو اليمني.
Because the culture which is propagated by this group is of hatred among the different components of the society.
فقد عمدت ميليشيات الحوثي على تغيير أو تحريف المناهج التعليمية في المدارس.
They have changed, I mean the Houthi group has changed all curricula in the schools
على أساس عقائدي وطائفي.
on the basis of communitarian and religious beliefs.
وتقوم بإقالة المدرسين والأكاديميين أيضا في الجامعات واستبدالهم بآخرين منتمين لجماعتهم أو من المقربين لهم ولفكرهم.
They are laying off many of the teachers and the academicians at the universities to replace them by people who are loyal to their principles.
لا أعتقد أن هنالك أحد يتصور مقدار الفاجعة بأنه ينشأ فلذة كبده على ثقافة مليئة بالكراهية والحقد للآخر، ثقافة لا تستوعب أي نوع من التسامح والتصالح والمحبة والإخاء.
Nobody could imagine that we have our children and they have to grow up with this education of hatred. They don't have any tolerance and they don't have any of these values.
هذه المدارس أصبحت أعزائي ملجأ أو معسكر كبير لاستيعاب الطلاب والرفض بهم إلى للجبهات القتال كما تقول ميليشيات الحوثي.
Even the schools are becoming as centers to enlist and to mobilize the people, the students to the front to send them to the front of war.
حيث تقوم الميليشيات باختطافهم بعد تعبئتهم بأفكار متطرفة والزق بهم في الجبهات الأمامية للقتال.
The militia, after educating these people with their own values, they take them to the front.
ويظهر ذلك جليا من خلال النزول الميداني المستمر الذي تقوم بها قيادات الحوثي إلى هذه المدارس وبث خطاب الكراهية.
أنا مجرد إنسانة أعاني مما تعانيه بلادي، ومحظوظة بأنني هنا بينكم اليوم لنقل رسالة المواطنين المدنيين الذين وقعوا ما بين هذه القبضة هذه الميليشيات. أحببت أن أضع لكم جانب آخر أيضا مما يعانيه اليمنيون، واليمنيون كما أشار زميلي الأستاذ خلدون هم الضحية الأكبر في هذه الحرب. حقيقة أنت سألت سؤال؟ تفضل.
حتى
تفضل. Sorry.
So I'm here, I'm suffering as all the Yemeni people suffer from. And I'm here very happy to be with you here to communicate the message which I wanted to communicate, especially that, as my colleague also led, he underlined the fact that it's the Yemeni who are under the Houthi control who suffer the most.
حقيقة السؤال يعني نحن الآن نطالب هذا ببيان رسمي من لجنة الخبراء. نحن كنا من أوائل من دعا إلى ضرورة أن تكون هناك تحقيقات نزيهة وعادلة في الجرائم والانتهاكات التي ترتكب في حق اليمنيين من أي من الأطراف، من أي ما كانت الأطراف هذه. ولكن العجيب في الأمر، تفضل. تفضل. أوكي.
Okay. I'm among the people who asking just to have also, let us say, an official communique why these investigations have taken place, and ask also to make to fund perhaps the inquiry committees which would verify the situation and see things on the ground.
نعم، في الحقيقة نحن يعني بالفعل كان التقرير صادم في عدد من الفقرات، ونحن في الحقيقة نحن نشكر الخبراء، نشكر الجهد الذين قاموا به، ونشكر المفوضية السامية للقيام بذلك، ونشكر كل الأطراف الذين تعاونوا معهم بما فيهم التحالف أيضا، الذين كنا نتوقع أنه ربما يتجنبوا التعاون أو أي شيء، ولكن في الحقيقة يعني كان لهم دور فاعل في هذا الجانب. وكذلك أيضا النشطاء والصحفيين والمجتمع المدني الذين بذلوا دور كبير. وهناك حقيقة استياء شديد جدا من منظمات المجتمع المدني، هناك استياء أيضا من الناشطات السياسيات وكل من شارك في هذا التقرير بإدلاء الدلو في التحقيقات. وفي الأخير
in spite of the fact that the report was very disappointing from many aspects, but also we thank people who have participated, and also the High Commissionary for Human Rights for their efforts, and also we can say about the coalition because they were very much cooperative, and there are many sides which have to be covered by the report of the panel of experts.
نعم. وهناك استياء أيضا من النشطاء، وهناك استياء من النشطاء.
There is a general grief of the results of this report.
الحقيقة أنا أعود إلى سؤالك تحديدا، لماذا لم يزوروا تعزل؟ لماذا؟ أوكي، أنا أتفهم الجانب الأمني ومخاوفهم من هذا الجانب، ولكن حتى من قابلوهم لم تنعكس القضايا التي وضعوها من مثلا زرع الألغام، الاعتداءات العشوائية بالقذائف والكتيوشا، القنص، كل الأمور هذه لم يتم ذكرها بشكل ولم تنعكس في التقرير.
I'd like just to come back to your question. I mean, I was very much astonished that many aspects which haven't been taken into consideration, like the landmines, like many crimes which has been perpetrated against the population. Why there was no mention of all these crimes?
مدينة تعز وحصار تعز هي وصمة العار في جبين الميليشيات الحوثية وفي جبين العالم والمجتمع أجمع الذين يصمتون حيال هذه الجرائم. وهذا إن دل على شيء حقيقة يدل على عدم حيادية وعدم نزاهة الفريق في إعداد هذا التقرير. ولذلك نحن نطالب ليس فقط يا إما بتغيير أو بإيقاف هذا ما تم، ولكن أيضا بتغيير اختيار المعايير بشكل أفضل، وحتى تغيير الموقع الأساسي الذين يقيمون فيه، وهو كان لبنان في هذه الفترة، ونحن نعلم أن هناك عدم حيادية.
أنا المختطف جمال محسن أحمد المعمري.
My name is Jamal Al-Ma'mari.
مختطف 1114 يوم في سجون الميليشيات الحوثية.
I have been kidnapped and I'm in the jails of the Houthi group since more than 1,000 days.
الاعتقال كانت وأنا فندق.
They have detained me while I was in a hotel. with my wife in Sana'a, the capital of Yemen.
وبالتحديد خط المطار فندق أرماني صنعاء. كل القيم الإنسانية
And I called them to respect the human values.
إلا أنهم رفضوا وقاموا بسحلي وضربي على مؤخرة الرأس في أحد
But,
البيوت.
but they hit me on my head and they took me to one of the houses in Sana'a.
نقلوني من الفندق إلى بيت نائب الرئيس حاليا.
They moved me from the hotel to the house of the vice president actually,
والذي هو تحت سلطتهم.
which is under their control.
وقاموا بضربي على رأسي وظهري بأعقاب البنادق والعصي الغليظة.
They were hitching me on my head and on my back with the back of the guns, of their guns.
ضربوني بالأسلاك الكهربائية حتى سقطت على الأرض مغميا علي.
They have also electrified my body and I was unconscious in few seconds.
لم أفق من غيبوبتي إلا الصباح.
It's only in the morning that I opened my eyes,
وأنا جوار ثلاجة الموتى.
whereas I was beside the refrigerator of the house where I was.
وعندما تأكدوا أني ما زلت حيا أعادوني إلى مكان الاختطاف.
And when they were aware that I'm alive, they brought me back to the place where I was kidnapped.
قاموا بربطي على كرسي حديدي ربطوا أرجلي وأيدي إلى الخلف.
They have tied my legs and my arms towards the back.
ربطوني حتى تركوني مثل الكرة حلزونيا.
They tied me with ropes. I was tied from all sides.
قاموا بصب الماء الثلج على رأسي.
And they were pouring cold water or ice and cold water on my head.
مزقوا ملابسي وانهالوا علي بالضرب بالعصي والأسلاك.
And they have turned my clothes and they started to hit me with all means, with all the wires they have.
كنت أصاب بغيبوبة متكررة نتيجة الضرب على مؤخرة رأسي.
So repeatedly, I was also unconscious, and whenever I open my eyes, they repeat the same story.
وكان كل همي مع التعذيب هو زوجتي وأطفالي.
In spite of all these sufferings, my first concern was my wife and my children.
كانوا يقولون لي هل تريد زوجتك؟
They asked me many times, do you want to have your wife?
فيسمعونني صوت امرأة تستغيث بجواري.
And they were, I heard cries, people who were looking, who were crying and calling me beside me.
كنت مقهورا كثيرا من تلك الأصوات.
I was very much disturbed by these voices,
كان الدم يسيل على كل جسمي.
and everything, I was blood over my body.
8 أيام لم يسمحوا لي فيها بالنوم.
They didn't allow me to sleep during 8 days and nights.
ومنعوني من استخدام الحمام نهائيا.
They have prohibited me of using the bathroom or the toilets in general.
لم يكونوا يعطوني الأكل إلا مرة واحدة.
And they were giving me food only once a day.
قاموا بإحراقي على الكرسي الحديدي. أحرقوا قدمي الأيسر بالكامل.
They have burned my feet, and in particular the left one on steel which they have with them.
هذه آثار الحريق.
And you can see the traces of this burning, you see.
قاموا بثقبي بدوري الكهربائي على يدي اليسرى. ترونه الآن أمامكم.
And they also started to electrify my hand on the left hand, you see. You can see that also the traces on my arm.
قاموا بحقني بإبر تحت الجلد للتعذيب.
They injected me also with many injections under the skin. You can see that also the traces are evident.
طبعا أيضا قاموا بسحلي كثيرا على البلاط.
يعني أرضية.
الأرضية, okay. They have also thrown me on the floor.
طبعا عندما كنت أستغيث كانوا يقومون بضربي على فمي حتى كسروا
When
أضرافي في الفك الأيمن.
when I was calling for relief, they were hitting me on my mouth to the extent that they were breaking one side of my cheeks, you see.
ضربوني كثيرا.
They hit me many times.
طلبوا مني الظهور إعلاميا في قناتهم لأتكلم على يعني كذبا على بعض المسؤولين.
They have also asked me to testify wrongly, a fake testification against my leaders on their own television.
كان بجواري أطفال ونساء. كان بجواري أطفال ونساء.
At home. There were children and women beside me, by my side.
كانوا يعذبون.
They have been tortured.
ثم نقلوني إلى سجن الأمن القومي بصرف.
Then they moved me to the, I think, Institution of National Security.
أدخلوني زنزانة انفرادية ليس فيها ضوء ولا ماء ولا كهرباء.
I was put in a cell without electricity, without water, without anything.
كانت ممتلئة بالحشرات.
It was full of insects.
قتلوا أناس كثيرين أمام عيني في هذا السجن.
They have killed many people in front of my eyes in this jail.
عذبوا الأمريكي جون.
They have tortured June, the American, yes,
قتلوه تحت التعذيب أمام عيني.
and he has been killed under torture, and I was eyewitnessing all that.
كان هنالك أشخاص من أوروبا أيضا من عدة دول أوروبية قاموا بتعذيبهم.
There were many Europeans coming from the different European countries who have been tortured.
عندما زارني الدكتور عبد القادر الجنيد عندما دخل سجنه يعني.
And when Dr. Al-Junaid visited me, they also detained him.
قام بفحصي ففاجأني أني مشلول.
And when he examined my body, he found out that I was paralyzed.
كنت على الحفاضات. يعني
He was,
أتبول لا إراديا.
yeah, he was having like the children layers, you see, because the pampers, like children. Yeah, he had his pampers.
قاموا بضرب البعض حتى ماتوا وكانوا يطلقون على رؤوسهم النار.
They were killing many people around me, and they were pouring, it's like fiery water on their heads.
هذه ملابس بعض من ماتوا تحت التعذيب. هذه ملابس مسعود البكيلي.
You see, these are clothes belonging to people who have been tortured.
وهذه ملابس حسين الحسوي.
And also these are the clothes of Hussein.
هؤلاء كانوا معي قتلوهم.
They were with me and they killed them.
في جعبتي الكثير من الملفات الذين قضوا تحت التعذيب أمام عيني.
And I have myself many stories about the different people who were killed under my own eyes, you see.
حبسوا صحفيين كثيرين.
They have detained very important journalists in Yemen.
الصحفي يحيى الجبيحي حكموه بالإعدام وهو محبوس معي.
Mr. Yahya al-Dubayhi was sentenced to death while he's in Paris.
مجموعة حارث حمي.
And the group of
حارث حميد.
Harith May, Harith Humaid, yeah.
هذا الصحفي الجبيحي الذي حكموه بالإعدام معه اثنين من أبنائه مسجونين معي.
This person, this journalist, was sentenced to death. He had two sons which were with me in my jail.
أخرجوهم من السجن وأبقوا ولد حمزة تحت الإقامة الجبرية.
They took them from the jail and they were forced to stay at their residence.
ابتزوا أهلي بما يعادل $50,000.
They blackmailed my family with almost $50,000.
نهبوا كل ممتلكاتي.
They have
سيارات
sacked
وأثاث،
all properties I have, cars and other things.
وأجبروني على توقيع استلام يوم إخراجي.
And they have obliged me to sign the day when I was released from the jail.
تركوني 3 سنوات تحت التعذيب ورفضوا يخرجوني إلا بمقاتل بديل عني، بمقاتل حوثي. سيطرت ميليشيا الحوثي على السلطة بقوة السلاح.
In general, the Yemen people are suffering from moral, also torture all the time, since the Houthi has taken control of the areas in which they are.
لم يعد هناك أمن وأمان، الشعب يعيش في حالة رعب وقلق وخوف ليلا ونهارا.
There is no security and the people are frightened day and night. The first thing that this group, the Houthi group, has dominated the areas, they started to build or to make prisons. That was the first step. Yeah.
منها معتقلات معروفة ومنها معتقلات سرية تابعة لما يسمى بجهاز الأمن الوقائي الحوثي.
There's some of these are known as detention centers and some are secret because they belong to their security forces. In this detention, we witnessed the worst torture ever had passed to see in the humankind wars.
على سبيل المثال هناك مثلا غرف ضيقة جدا يوضع فيها المعتقل ويحرم من دخول الحمام ولا يمنع ولا يعطى إلا وجبة واحدة في اليوم.
For instance, one of these cells, people are detained inside a cell which is very, very narrow, and then he's deprived from going to the bathroom or to the toilets, and he's offered only a single meal the whole day.
أما بالنسبة للغرف الجماعية فيتم حشر الناس فيها بشكل كبير جدا وتكتظ بالمعتقلين ولا يوجد مكان يتسع لأن ينام الشخص فيه.
In the collective ones, there is a compact crowd, you see, of prisoners. People cannot move and they don't find a proper place to sleep.
ويمنع أيضا من الدواء أو وصول الطبيب إليهم.
People are deprived from medicaments or the access to the medical intention.
وطبعا هناك غرف خاصة للتحقيق يتم فيها تعذيب المعتقل بأنواع متعددة لم يسبق لأحد أن يرتكبها.
Also, there are rooms for investigation, and during these investigations, detainees are tortured by means of which you didn't hear in the history.
هناك التعذيب بالكهرباء وبالسلخ وبالمادة الكبريتية وبمواد أسيدية يعني وتؤدي إلى انسلاخ الجلد بالكامل.
There are tortures with even phosphoric or other materials which burn the skin and it leave its traces on the person.
وهناك حالات كثيرة منها الدكتور منير المشرقي الذي تم سلخ جسمه وأصبح اليوم فاقدا للوعي.
Also, there is the case of Dr. Munir Mashrifi, in which they tried to get out, to take out the skin, his skin, and he's still unconscious and he's suffering from all these sorts of torture.
أو بالأصح هو فاقد للذاكرة جراء التعذيب الذي تعرض له.
He has an atrophy in his memory because of this, the sufferings he had during this torture.
بالإضافة إلى الشيخ جمال المعمري الذي تعرض لتعذيب وحشي وأصبح اليوم معاق ومشلول ولا يستطيع الحركة وهو يتلقى العلاج الآن في المملكة العربية السعودية.
In addition to the Mr. Ma'mari, I think, whom we have seen before, and he's paralyzed and he cannot move, you see.
ومؤخرا تم اعتقال الناشط والإعلامي محمد صويع وتم تعذيبه تعذيبا وحشيا حتى فارق الحياة.
Recently, Mr. Muhammad Swi' was detained. He was a journalist, I think, and well known, and he was tortured till he died under the torture.
للأسف الشديد أن لجنة الخبراء الذين زاروا اليمن لم يقوموا بزيارة تلك السجون المتعددة ولم يطلعوا على أوضاع المعتقلين ولم يطالبوا حتى بالإفراج عنهم.
Alas, all the members of the experts panel who visited Yemen, they didn't ask to be taken to these jails, and they didn't ask also to release them from the Houthi movement.
وللعلم بأنه بعد أحداث ديسمبر 2017 تمادت ميليشيا الحوثي بشكل كبير جدا في ارتكاب الجرائم على نطاق واسع.
In spite of the fact that the Houthi movement, after the events of December 2017, they have expanded their activities and they are perpetrating crimes everywhere and on a large scale. Have been liquidated physically, even in their homes or at the hospitals.
أما بالنسبة للاختفاء القسري فلدينا شخصيات كثيرة تم اختفائها قسريا من قبل الميليشيا الحوثية.
As far as the forced disappearance, there are many cases here. See? Subaihi, sorry, yeah.
Yes. وناصر منصور هادي.
Yeah, the vice president.
ومحمد قحطان.
And Muhammad Qahtan.
وبعد أحداث ديسمبر تم اعتقال أولاد الرئيس علي عبد الله صالح وأقربائه.
And after the events of
لدينا الكثير من الصحفيين والإعلاميين معتقلين اليوم ويتعرضون لأبشع أنواع التعذيب.
we have many journalists and activists who are detained and they are suffering from the torture which is exerted on them all the time.
وهناك آلاف مؤلفة لا نعلم أين مصيرهم حتى اليوم.
On top of that, there are thousands and thousands who nobody knows what happened to them.
كنا بالأمس نطالبكم في مجلس حقوق الإنسان بأن تشكلوا لجنة تحقيق دولية.
We were asking you to found an investigation committee in the past.
لكننا أصبنا بخيبة أمل.
But we were completely disappointed.
لأن تقرير الخبراء كان تقريرا
This is an initiative by humanitarian activists in Yemen, and they initiated a story about 100 humanitarian stories from Yemen. It's pictures and brochures of the atrocities and abuses to civilians in Yemen by the Houthi militias. This is the other side of the story that is not in the international media. We have the story of Nurhan. She was in Taz. She went to buy a piece of bread from the bakery. She was snapped by and shot dead by a sniper. And in the siege city of Taz, we have landmine victims. He was tortured to death. Detainees. All of these stories are, unfortunately, civilians who have died and have been tortured by these militias who do not believe in freedom of speech. They do not believe in inclusivity or in peace in any way. They only believe in how to attack people. Even old people. Even old people. Old people here. And you have. He was unfortunately. He was Munir. He was detained. They threw acid at him. These are stories of poor people, civilians who have been caught in this deadly war, and this needs to stop. And the international community has to stop this.
Good to show it.
Yes, and we need this to be, because in the eminent report, this should have been reflected.
Yeah, we should count the cases and
Yeah.
make a report. What you should. No? You have a report?
The human Human rights activists have cased these files, filed these cases, and they're working on it. But the international community needs to help, needs to listen to these activists, and this is a very good way of doing that, and we thank them for this initiative. And you can see some more also.
Okay.